Hello, I'm Romajan Perez, a fourth-year Bachelor of Science in Information Technology student from Gordon College, College of Computer Studies. And you may call me Romeo, or maybe J, or RJ. And right now, I'm currently specializing on game development and game designing. I've learned about StackLeague because of my second-year IT student schoolmate here, which they're currently studying in Gordon College too, introduced me to StackLeague because he was an ambassador last year, and then he encouraged me to join the league or be an ambassador. So I did a little bit of research on StackLeague, and then I decided to be a challenger instead, and then I give it a try. One of my motivations here in joining StackLeague is that I am continually honing and growing my currently existing skills such as my programming, my coding skills, the algorithms, and my data structures. Plus, I get goodie bags from StackLeague, which I get from solving problems. So, medyo interested na ako sa StackLeague. And then, sinimulan ko na mag-start agad ng challenge. Nung unang try ko sa Bronze League, I failed. Nung second try ko sa Bronze League, I failed. Third, fourth, I failed. And then nun, nag-take ako ng break because there's a lot of failures for me na to continue. So ayun, after ng countless of failures na nagawa ko sa Bronze League nung una pa lang ako dun, na-encounter ko yung practice mode. So ang ginawa ko, doon muna ako nag-practice bago ko simulan yung mga challenges. So dahil dun, I reached gold last year. So, one of my proudest achievement in the league was nung sinandan nila ako ng StackLeague shirt. And it was my proudest moment because I was acknowledged as one of the leaders in programming league in StackLeague. So it makes me so proud that they acknowledged me as one of their pioneer programmers. My capstone project is influenced by StackLeague. So that's one of my achievements sa aking project, which is I'm proud of how it turned out. So sa StackLeague kasi, you're going to learn programming by coding itself. So sa akin naman, you're going to learn programming by playing game. So sa game na yun, I've implemented the block coding engine doon para sa mga new individuals na magte-try ng programming, they can easily land a concept on how programming works. I recommend StackLeague for students, fresh graduates, and professionals, and even those individuals that are currently looking for a tech career shift. StackLeague will create, enhance, and grow your current knowledge foundation in tech. And also, StackLeague also provides workshops for you to further gather more knowledge because, you can never learn too much.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's nice to see all of you here tonight again, virtually. Virtually nga lang na because this is an online event. So, before we start, hello guys to our viewers sa YouTube for tonight. Now, welcome to the Stack League Tech session beginning with Jetpack Compose on Android development. And I am Isai and I'll be your host for tonight's event. And before we go deeper into our event this evening, I would like to remind you guys that if you have any questions during the session, you can type them in the comment section and we will be addressing them later during the Q&A session. All right. Okay. I believe there's been some technical problems right now, but before that, all right, sige. Ayun. Okay. Very normal in doing online events. May mga technical problems. No? So with that one, I would like to say hi to our participants for this evening. And to tell you guys, this is not the first tech session that we have for the year. We have been hosting numerous tech sessions already. And with that one, I would like to know from our viewers tonight kung sino ba yung mga first timers. Okay. If it's for this for this year lang, for 2023. If this is your first time during the tech session, kindly type number one in the comment section. If this is your second time, two, three, kung di nyo na makount, sige, lagay nyo na lang, di nyo na makount. Alright, so I would like to know, sino ba yung mga first timers? Ayun, may mga suki. Alright, and with that one, no, before we dive into tonight's session, I would like to give you a quick overview of what we have for you this year. And hopefully, for our viewers for tonight, may mga Stack League accounts na kayo. If you don't have, you can just simply create an account at stackleague.com. And now, in its third competitive year, Stack League wouldn't be possible without the support of our partners. And we are very fortunate to be supported by the top companies in the industry. There, so here are our industry partners. We have Packetworks, Microsoft, Colabera, Manulife IT Delivery Center, Deltec Systems, Coding Chiefs, Recruit Day, GCash, and Likha IT by free. And we also have our media partners, and here they are. Also, the same goes for our community partners who help the league reach as many programmers in the country as possible. Thank you so much to all of our partners. We won't be able to continue what we're doing without, of course, your help and support. So this pioneering programming league is now gathering thousands of tech talents across the country to improve their coding skills while earning prizes and awesome job opportunities. One of the highlights in StackLeague is the weekly top 10. So yung mga top ranking players natin, they are awarded on a weekly basis, and yun yung mga weekly top 10 natin. And apart from this, we also have the StackLeague featured programmer campaign. So all of those weekly top 10 players will be featured on Stack League's websites and our different social media channels. And also, apart from being a programming competition, Stack League will also be hosting numerous tech and career sessions and exclusive training all throughout the year. These events and training are all for free. So just like what we're doing tonight, this is a tech session, one of our events. And again, just to emphasize, all events and trainings are for free with digital certificates. And you can also look forward to on site Stack League sessions. So that's one thing or one new thing about Stack League Season 3 is that we will be going to your places and conduct on site events. So to get the latest update, you may just follow our Facebook page. And of course, the tournament is powered by StackTrek's fully automated talent analytics assessment platform. And currently, the league is supported by the five programming languages, namely JavaScript, Java, Python, C Sharp, and PHP. So for those who don't know yet, this is how the Stack League ranking system works. After signing up, you start with 0 points, and then you solve as many challenges as you can to earn the corresponding points. Once you have enough points, you can now get to the next level challenges where more opportunities are unlocked for you to access. Ayun. So that's how you rank up from bronze up until gold. So for the level up prizes, once you unlock bronze, you get to receive 100 pesos. Once you unlock silver, there's an additional of 100 pesos. And once you unlock gold, you receive an additional cash prize of 300 pesos. Ayun. So we also have our Stack League playoffs. Our Stack League playoffs is a single elimination tournament featuring all monthly qualifiers. The qualified players earn points by solving as many challenges as they can during the competition. So the first monthly qualifier round will happen on March 25. So make sure to rank in the weekly top 10 to be invited. So if you're interested to win 5,000 pesos as top 1 and 3,000 pesos as top 2, make sure that you rank up or yeah, you get to rank in the weekly top 10 for you to be invited on our March qualifier round happening on March 25. We would like to congratulate our Stack League ambassador for the month of February. We have Nathaniel Caleb. Ayun. And you could be the next Stack League Ambassador of the Month. Earn your ambassador points through the referral program, blog writing, and speaking engagements. You may read the full mechanics at bit.ly/StackLeague23 Ambassador. So what's something new for Stack League Season 3? So for this year, the league will now be divided into two divisions, namely the Pro League and the Student League. Pro League is open to all professionals who have graduated and or have working experience. Meanwhile, Student League is open to all students who have no working experience yet. Both top 10 players from the two divisions will receive 500 pesos cash prize each, And if you're interested to know more about the full mechanics, you may visit bit.ly/StackLeague Weekly Top 10. One new thing about Stack League Season 3 is our PvP mode. It is a one-on-one competition that allows players from silver to master level to challenge each other and will be given points depending on their bet. And the winner takes all. You may find the full mechanics at bit.ly/StackLeague PvP. Take note, players from silver to master level can only be are allowed to play the PvP mode. So sa dami ng mechanics na nabanggit ko, you can find all those mechanics at our website. You may visit stackleague.com/blogs. Also, just a reminder that Stack League is a year-round tournament. That means we are not only looking for the best programmers, but also the league leaders who can stay on the top of the rankings all throughout the competitive season. So once again, if you don't have a Stack League account yet, make sure to create an account at stackleague.com. And I know you're all excited to learn more about our session for tonight, and let us not delay this any further. I would like to introduce to you our resource speaker for our tech session for tonight. Our resource speaker is a part-time professor at De La Salle University. At the same time, he is also an IT consultant at David and Goliath. In the tech community, he currently leads the Philippine Android developers community. Everyone, let us all give a warm welcome to Marco Valmores.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Mac. Good evening.
Good evening. So, can I share my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, sige, sige. Thank you. Oh, wait. Ayan. Saglit lang ah. Give me a few seconds lang. So, hi everyone. So, I'm Mac Valmores from Philippine Android Developers Community. Now, aside from being part of the tawag dito, tech community, I'm also doing trainings for corporate as well as other institutions, no. Baka may students pa nga ako na taga Lasal diyan, no. So I'm teaching mobile development in Lasal. Maybe also you've seen me in or gotten to attend one of the workshops I do. So I do a lot of workshops with Philippine Android developers community. The last that I did was before the pandemic. It was 2019. I went around the country, parang 29 provinces plus one or two places overseas. Okay. So you can reach me at LinkedIn. It's Macadamia PH, and I have two Facebook accounts. One is Marco Valmores and another is Mac Valmores. So ayan. So for tonight, I'll be talking about Jetpack Compose in detail. Um, Also, to appreciate for you to appreciate the yung Jetpack Compose, I'll show you the what we call legacy code or yung mga current code, no. So I'll go share my yung ko Android Studio. Before I begin, I'd like to know how many of you guys um are actually doing Android development. Meron ba? Maybe Maybe you can start pressing one if you're doing via sa chat, no? Or sa Facebook, send one if you are actually using you're doing Android already. So ayan, may mga nag-raise ng hand, wala pa. Okay. Not yet, but interested. Me. Okay. So when we talk about Android development, the current language we are using now is Kotlin, no? And due to a lot of development and dami ng changes, uh, and one of the things that I'll be talking now is only a very, very small part of the big changes happening. Um, yung, okay, so we'll focus on UI muna. So, okay. So in Android, when we talk about UI components, dalawa siya kadalasan, no? We have two files that we need to look into. Yung una is yung layout file mo, yung .xml. This will show you kung ano itsura ng layout mo, no? I think there's something wrong with the UI, pero ito siya. Okay. So, then after the UI, you have your coding. Ito yung logic mo, andito mo i-edit lahat. Now, one of the caveats of working with this approach, no, yung pinaka-una pa, okay? Before, what we will do is that for each UI component that needs to be modified during runtime, we need to use this way of calling it, yung find view by ID. So isipin nyo na lang may 10, 100 components ka, UI components. So ganun din karami yung variables, yung lines, no? Then eventually, recently, well, not recently, one of the biggest changes was when uh, tawag dito, view binding was introduced. So what does view binding do? So we have our UI component here. Each UI component is identified by an ID. Ito siya. So ito yung XML file ninyo. Now if you go to your code, yung counterpart niya, so what's happening here is ito yung dati, no? Now what we do is we just say binding equals activity main binding that inflate tapos set content view. Now, ito yung pinagkaiba niya. Look. So, we just say binding that sample text that text. Rather than calling find view by ID or and storing it in a variable, we can call it directly. So, ang laking code ang nawala nung we started doing this, no? Now, when modern Android development was introduced few years back, they created what we call Compose or no one of the UI standards they want to adhere into. Before I go to Compose, one there are a few things that we need to understand about the Android UI. One, all of this UI component, yung UI nyo is totally different from your logic. So they reside in two files, and the way they will meet each other is through parang may intermediate file, no? Na doon, so yung mga IDs na nakikita nyo dito sa text view, i-convert niya to some other file or ilalagay sa isang file para ma-map out at magamit mo dito sa code mo. Okay? Changes. So medyo gumaan na yung buhay dahil sa view binding, pero there's a lot more actually happening, no? Yung development. So let's talk Compose now. So when we talk about Compose, okay. So ang kinaganda dito, you only have one file. Wala ka ng layout file. Ayan. So wala ka ng layout file. Okay? So yeah, there you go. So now that you don't have a layout file, how do you now manage your UI? So your UI is part of the code already. Okay? Maraming benefits to. Like you can directly populate the data here no, and include code as part of your UI. Before kasi, one of the challenges here, paano mo, if you have something like real-time data that you want to show, paano mo ipapakita doon sa using the XML. So may mga ano naman ways to do it, pero it's a bit clunky, no? Medyo mahirap. And one thing also is when you talk about Android UI, it's heavily tied to the Android OS. No? Unlike Compose, mas ano siya, hindi siya nakatay. Okay? So yung isa pang privilege nun, benefit. Now let's start coding in Hello World in both using the layout and Jetpack Compose. Okay? So let's start with this one. Unahin natin to. Wait lang. Double check ko lang bakit may red siya. Okay. Wait. I-run ko lang. Ayan. Okay. So when we create a UI component or UI, basic UI sa Android, we use this approach, no? Yung old code. So we have the layout. Then if you want to change something during runtime, we can change it here sa dito, no? Okay. Now, ang ginawa ko lang, naglabas lang ako ng screen tapos meron akong current text na ginawa. Okay. So I'm using two files and look at how much code I used for this one. Okay. Now let's go to Compose. Okay? Imamap natin yung ginawa ko dito sa Compose. Okay? So may prepared code na ako. Medyo pasensya na, dinaya ko na. Kasi kinakabahan ako baka mamaya kulangan sa oras or may during runtime or magkaroon ng problem. Okay? So ano yung difference niya in terms of coding? One, you will notice isang file lang yung ine-edit ko. Yung screen, no? Yung code na, yung logic na. While here, I'm modifying two files, the UI file as well as the logic file. Ito, iisa na lang, which access both. Okay? Wait lang Stop ko lang lahat. So, if I run this, bakit wala siyang laman? Dali tinawag ko naman siya. Dali. Sorry, may konting technical difficulty lang sa coding. Give me a second. Okay. So, isa-isahin natin. When we created this UI component, meron pa tayong kailangan aralin sa UI ng Android, which is what we call containers or yung mga layouts natin. Here, I'm using a constraint layout and napaka-clunky or ang dami mong kailangang aralin kasi meron different types of layout na pwede mong gamitin. Here sa Compose, you don't need to really learn that much kasi you can define columns and rows which will help you arrange your items. No? Mamaya makikita nyo yun. Okay. So yun yung unang difference. No? So wala na tayong layout. Well, we can emulate layouts here pero technically wala na siya yung gantong approach. No? Okay. Now, ano yung similarities ngayon ng dalawa? The first thing that happens when you create or run the application is may tinatawag tayong theme. Ayan, yung theme. The theme is the one responsible for your basic, yung color scheme, yung pinaka basic look and feel ng layout mo. No? So, here may predefined create file na, yung my application theme. And, ayan, no? Dito natin siya dinidefine. Ayan, sa set. Okay. Wait. Baka pala, reviewin ko lang, ilan dito yung hindi pa marunong mag-Android? Kasi I think I'm doing it a bit too, baka maano eh, ma-confuse yung iba. Sorry, I forgot na ano, no, kasi inisip ko lahat kayo familiar na sa Android, no? Okay, isa-isahin natin. Okay, nakalimutan ko. Sorry. Sige, balikan natin, no? Um, when you create your compose layout, hindi mo na kailangan yung XML. No? So we can remove that in the picture. We will now use yung main activity. For those who are not yet familiar, you can actually just right click yung folder na to kung saan kayo create new tapos may activity. Ayan. May mga sample templates na, no? So we already have composed for material 3. Meron din basic uh, compose activity, no? So you can choose whether you want to use your uh, basic yung mga yung compose and yung original or rather yung Kotlin based na approach, no? Where you use the XML. Okay, let's compare it line by line. Sorry, anuhin natin. No? So yung layout, tatanggalin na natin kasi yung layout, dito na natin i-code sa loob ng logic natin. No? Unlike dito, we have two files. We have to create the layout first. No? So dito, when you create your class for the main activity, may unang change ka agad. App compat activity ang ginagamit natin usually. Pero with Compose, you need to use a component activity. Ito yung isang change. Okay? Yan yung unang change. Second, you will notice here, meron tayong tinatawag na set content view. Set content view identifies which file you use for your layout. Yung etong nakita nyo naka-comment na to, this is yung old school quote-unquote wherein we define the layout component that is found in the resource, tapos layout, tapos ito. Ito yung file name niya. So that layout, that activity name. Main, yan yun, no? That's how we do it, old school. And now with view binding, we just say set content view binding the truth. So take note of that. Set content view, we still define the UI and hahanapin niya yun sa resource folder nyo. With Compose, you will notice a big difference. You still have yung on create, but look here. Set content, instead of your curly yung parenthesis, it's already using what we call a curly brace. Okay? So yung curly braces na to, tawag dito, is what we call lambda for those who are not yet familiar. So here, dito na natin i-define yung mga UI component natin. Ayan. So far, may questions ba or malinaw ba? May questions, clarifications, anything? Feel free to send the message via the Facebook, Facebook tuloy, the YouTube chat, no? So I can see kung meron kayong questions or clarifications. Ito. So we have Mr. Alpuerto, no? Sabi niya, how do you refactor a code? Can you give us example? What do you mean by refactor? You mean like may existing code ka na tapos i-convert mo to Jetpack Compose, tama ba? Tama ba yung question na remark Alpuerto? Did I get it correct? So, at actually parang ganun na rin yung ginagawa natin kasi I'm using an actual UI component that's not in Compose and we will actually convert it into a Compose layout. Okay? So, ayan, nasa ano na tayo sa main yung activity. For those who don't know, when we talk about activities, these are the pages or the screens that are seen in your phone, no? So, we have here a UI component na eto, no, may text field lang siya sa gitna ng screen. Gagayahin lang natin sa Material Compose. Iko-convert lang natin. So, line by line kanina, sinasabi ko ano yung difference. Okay, ito 'yon. Okay. Now, let's go back. Sige. Feel free to comment, remark pag medyo hindi na malinaw yung part na ano, or this is for everyone, by the way. If may isang part kayo hindi you think you need to understand more, kasi I'll be mapping it parang line by line before I proceed with another example ng compose. Okay? So, going back. So, we have here my application theme. The theme is the color scheme of your application. So, if I run this, this is our compose example. Wait, wala siyang lumalabas. I need to double check kung bakit. Okay? Pero yung main activity natin, yung isa, ito yung hindi siya compose, not compose. Ito yung itsura niya. Gagayahin lang natin. Okay? Na andyan. Okay? So, yung first na requirement when you use okay? Ang kinaganda dito, you can actually create your own theme. A theme is composed of different components. Ano yung fonts mo, yung mga yung color palettes mo andyan. If you want to use specific colors, specific UI siya or dito mo siya i-define. So ano yung katumbas neto sa sa regular or sa old non-compose project? So if you go here sa XML, okay, we go to values, we have themes here. Ito siya. So here we identify yung color scheme or rather yung theme nung app natin. So rather than us creating a new file for this one, na again nasa XML, we can now define it as classes or a file that or parang settings file, no? Andito yung ano nyo, or a file that contains all the uh, themes, no? So hindi mo na kailangan pumunta ng resource ngayon. Okay? So yun yung una. Okay, next we have the surface. This is when you talk about the surface, it is the screen itself. Okay. So when we talk about modifiers, these are the padding, margins that you can add. Okay? Kung gaano kalaki, gaano kalaki yung screen. If you go here sa old school, saan natin ginagawa? You need to define it sa layout mo. So kung napapansin nyo sa old school, no, we have 3 files. Themes tapos yung layout ko. While here, no, when we talk about sa material design, I'm still using, I use yung theme na in-export lang para malinis tignan. Pero technically, you can combine these two files para sa isang file, para sa isang project or layout lang. Okay? So, files for yung regular Android project. Now, with Compose, pwedeng isang file na lang siya or you can organize your files within one package lang. Okay? So ano yung katumbas ng surface natin sa UI component? So etong part na to, width and height. Plus meron din tayong sinabi na background color. So ito siya. So dito by default kasi one thing with Android, yung background color sometimes black, sometimes transparent, sometimes white, no? So here we define it with color. Tapos between these two curly braces is what you want to show already. Ito yung text natin. So how do we define yung text? Let's go back to the old yung non-compose way of doing it. So we have yung text view. We have an ID, we have yung width and height, the text na gusto natin ipalabas, then we have constraint. Constraint is one of the layout requirements kasi, pero let's not discuss that. Pero look at this one. You need to define a lot of things, ID, width and height, then yung value niya, no? Now let's go to compose. Sa compose, I created a function na greeting, and it just says text, tapos inside the parentheses, it's text equals, tapos yung hello. Okay? So, ayan. It's just weird. Hindi ko, double check ko lang bakit hindi lumalabas yung color. Give me a few seconds lang. Ito mahirap pag live coding eh. Ayan. Okay. Double check ko lang. Baka kasi try ko lang I need to double check bakit hindi lumalabas. Kasi dapat lalabas siya dito sa upper left corner. I'm not sure why hindi siya lumalabas. Okay. I'm trying to figure that out. Sige. Well, for now, dapat pareho siya. Okay. So that's how you map yung So in material yung of you using parang XML layout, you have your compose o yung main activity mo, andun na yung mga layout mo. So you don't have the layout component of non-compose project. Plus, yung XML layout, yung XML mo, wala na rin. Okay. Hindi naman lahat, pero some of it. They are converted to this other files, no? Now, another benefit of using Compose is we can actually reuse yung mga method. You will notice yung method na to, yung greeting, it has an annotation composable. So, when you have a reusable component, no, you can actually call it at anywhere doon sa UI mo. Okay, so wait lang Try ko lang yung column. Ayan. So, for example, I have greeting. Pwede kong ulit-ulitin yan. Okay. Dapat lumabas na siya. Ang weird. Okay. Sige. I'll switch to another project and focus now. I'll focus more on the compose. So when you migrate from compose to to a non-compose activity project to a compose, you need to create a theme. Tapos ito yung surface. Yun lang yung pinaka-basic na kailangan nyo malaman for the meantime. Okay. Now I'll be working on a new project, a new layout, no. Lang pakita ko lang. Lipat ko lang tong label. Okay. Tama ba? Kaya pala Iba yung naka-load kanina. Wait lang. Ipakita ko lang, sorry. Ayun, ayun, ito siya. Ito yung material design. Ayan, ito. Now, there's one thing also na maganda dito. Okay? Later on, makikita nyo. Kaya ako nagtataka kanina, bakit hindi lumalabas. Meron tinatawag tayong hot reload wherein while you code, you can change yung changes sa UI mo, pwede mong pwede mangyari kaagad. Wait lang. Dito ba 'yon? Double check ko lang ah. Ayun, nakita nyo. So, tatanggalin ko to, palitan ko ng Marco. So, you will see during runtime nagpapalit yung UI. So, this is actually another benefit of it. Kasi most of the time when we use layout, minsan nagugulat na lang tayo, bakit iba yung itsura niya sa phone tapos iba yung itsura niya pag nile-layout natin. Let's go back to yung old na Android, no? So dito, when you create your layout, eto siya, no? Meron siyang guidelines, may preview siya, ayan. I-zoom in ko lang. Eto siya. Pero during runtime kasi, may possibility hindi siya yung makita mo kaagad. Hindi ito yung mag-take or makikita mo. So yun yung isang challenge with UI sa Android, no? Kasi one of the biggest problems, or for me, the challenges of Android is hindi standard ang screen sizes ng Android as well as yung dimensions ng screens, no? Um, Unlike sa iOS kasi parang mabibilang mo sa kamay mo yung screen sizes na available. While in Android, napaka-unique ang dami. Plus, lumabas pa ngayon yung foldable. Okay? So, yun yung isang kinaganda when you start using Compose kasi yung when you run the application and you use this preview, you can already see the changes during runtime. Okay, yan. Okay, so I'll load another project, another set of code na I can show you to just to play around and get to know the code more, no? Give me a few seconds lang. Okay. For this one, medyo mas marami siyang code na laman. Dali ah. Ito yung compose activity. So here I have another sample code for compose. Siyempre, ginamit ko pa rin yung greeting wherein yung kanina na inano natin. And one thing that you will notice here, okay, if we go back here, napansin nyo, yung code natin, yung sa loob ng set content, pwede siyang humaba ng humaba and ano, no, tawag doon, maging clunky or ang hirap basahin ng code. So we can go, so what I did here, if we compare it here, no, what I did is I created a composable function wherein andito yung mga gusto ko ipalabas. So, ang kinaganda nito, you can create your layout by subdividing it into sections already. No? So, kunyari, ito yung header, ito yung footer, yung mga ganon. That way, you can you can call the layout that you created in uh, other screens or pwede mo siyang recreate, no? Ayan. Wait. So, ano pa yung mga pwede natin gawin dito? So, here, what I did was, meron tayong column samples wherein ito yung sasabi ko, no? You can do the layout, yung layout mo during runtime, pwede mo nang gawin yan, pwede ka nang mag-loop sa loob ng layout mo. Unlike we do it before, no? There's something what we call an adapter. Ipapasa namin sa adapter, tapos yun pa yung magpapalabas. Or well, that's what when we use an recycler view, no? Or we pass a long string to text. We set the text to a long string. Okay? Medyo clunky pero it works. Pero now look, when you create your UI component, you can have code logic within it that will makes your UI component design much easier. Okay, so meron tayo dito, may sample ako for column, may sample ako for rows, and here's an example of a snack bar wherein, ayan, no, ito yung for those who don't know, di ba when you do mobile web development, meron tayo natawag na alert or alert box, ito yung counterpart niya. So, there's a lot of things to actually learn about Compose. Even honestly, hindi ko siya gaano ginagamit kasi parang yung learning curve for me, medyo sa akin, hindi ko lang natututukan, no? Pero there's a lot of benefits for this, and I hope you guys will use this, and I'll cut the discussion short for the meantime kasi baka mamaya nalilito na kayo and Pero I think I was able to show yung request yung nagtanong paano mo i-map out yung layout to from a non-compose to a compose project. So ayun. So we'll end here. I'll use the time for a Q&A. So yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen now and yeah. Pasensya na guys. So yung laptop ko has no phone, no camera, so you won't be able to see me. So any questions, clarifications, or yeah. So usually for a code guide, maraming yan. With siguro mga 3.5 sessions siguro yun. Ayan. So I'll pass the session to Isay. So ayan.
There. Thank you so much, Mac, no, for that um, demo that you had earlier. For our participants, it is now your turn to throw in your questions. And I believe we have one question here from Stephen. So, good evening po. Is Jetpack Compose somewhat similar to Flutter framework when you're coding the UI?
Yeah, good question. Yes. So siya, if you've done Flutter, mas madali kang makaka mas madali mo siyang magagawa. For me, that's how I see it. Very very close siya so how Flutter is done.
Ayun. So, I hope that answered your question, Stephen. One question from Alan. I think he's trying to learn more about may bootcamp po ba kaya nito?
As of the moment, wala pa. But do check yung please do join Philippine Android Developers Community. We announce mga mga workshops, ayun nga, bootcamp to introduce new technology, especially for beginners. And sometimes we do have discussions or with professionals also. So ayun. So please do join the uh, Philippine Android Developers Community.
There. So do join communities, guys. Question from Mark. Is there an advantage of using Android Kotlin in mobile development rather than using cross-platform framework like Flutter or React.js?
Okay, matagal na usapan 'yan, pero um, yung short answer would be from the perspective of a business. It will be much cheaper for me, no, kung ako yung may-ari ng business. It will be cheaper for me to use a cross-platform development or framework like Flutter or React JS or Xamarin or some other tools. Kasi ang benefit nun, once you code, it already works for, well, yung UI, magkaiba yung UI nila, pero yung UI structure, pero once you have the logic created, parang, ano na siya eh, deployable na siya for both iOS and Android already. Also, si Kotlin, Android Kotlin has also what we call multi-platform. So, um, when we talk about multi-platform or just going for one, yung pinaka-basic, business decision na yun most of the time kasi isipin mo kung if you're catering to Android and iOS, you automatically have to hire at least one for each. So, dalawang developer na. While sa isang if you use for a cross-platform, isang developer lang pwede na. So, yun yung short answer ko, business point of view. Okay.
Ayun. So I hope that answered your question, Mark. We also have another question from Juan. Widely used na din po ba ang Compose sa industry?
I have no specific statistics, no, unfortunately. However, this is part of the initiative of Google to promote modern Android development. Um, well, from what I hear from my friends overseas, mas gamit or mas nagma-migrate na sila sa Compose. Ayun.
Ayun. So I think it relates to Sean's question here about is Jetpack Compose already being adopted? No, so parang same lang naman. All right. So another question from Mark is that what is the most critical part in developing Android apps?
Hmm. Well, medyo vague yung question. When you talk about critical part, siyempre functionality ng app yung pinakauna mo titignan. Then you need to look into security, no? Sa akin, siguro if as an educator and a developer, one of the things that people take for granted is yung memory consumption ng mga apps natin. Not much people, or at least the ones that I see, hindi nila binabantayan yung memory utilization, yung network usage. Kasi those things, no, that we don't look into uses battery. And unlike yung other forms of medium, when we talk about mobile development, battery is very critical for mobile phones. So for me, yun yung I think you need to also understand yung limitations na noon, yung unang battery, how your app affects the battery. That's my perspective, no? If you're ayan.
All right. Thanks, Mac, for your answer. Eto, well, as much as we want to acknowledge all of your questions, but our time is limited and we will be catering to this one last question again from Juan. Ito. What sources are available for developers who are just getting started with Jetpack Compose?
Ayan. You can always visit Google Code Labs. So Google Code Labs provides a step-by-step uh, introduct parang follow yung step-by-step coding and kung paano ginagawa yung mga bagay like Compose, Work Manager, yung mga bagong pino-promote nila na mga tech, no? So, hindi naman pino-promote, mga enhancements, ang pangit pakinggan pag pino-promote. Yung enhancements sa technologies that developers would uh, that will help developers ease yung development nila. So, yun, Google Code Labs, yung pinaka-default. There are other contents that you might want to look into. Uh, I think the other one that I'll usually recommend is Codeco, Kodeco, or Ray Wanderlich, parang ganun. Yun yung dalawa lang na tinitignan ko usually.
Ayun. And maybe we can cater to this one last question from Stephen.
Yes.
So, eto, I would like to ask po if the latest Android Studio requires a high-end spec, especially with the memory.
Yeah, sadly it is. Ito yung nagiging common meme ngayon sa sa industry when we talk about Android development. Ang laki niyang lakas kumain ng memory. Um, you need to invest. Uh, if you have 4 gig of memory, it's okay. Pero usually ask people if you can get 8 gig, okay siya. That's if you are using yung mga window-based na laptop. Unlike yung mga window-based, if you're using a Mac, yung mga Apple products, Apple MacBook, yung mga ano nila, those are highly optimized for Android development. For me, kasi napaka-efficient nila gumamit ng memory. So, kahit na medyo low end, okay pa rin yung sa Mac. Okay, so for if you have your desktop or your laptop, 4 gig is yung recommended, pero try to get 8 at least kung kaya nyo. 8 gig of memory.
There. So thank you so much, Mac, for answering all of our participants' question, and of course, thank you to our participants now for throwing in your questions. And with that one, before we dive into our announcement for tonight, Mac, is there anything else you want to add?
Um, aside from ano pala, sa aside from yung Google Code Labs, for those who want, kasi may iba't ibang learning way means tayo. For me, I like following or reading the code and following the instruction. But some of you might want to watch the videos. You can go check Android developers sa YouTube. Ayun. And for future events, like workshops, talks, please do join Philippine Android Developers Community. You can even post, kunyari may problem ka sa coding, ayun, you can post it there.
There. Thank you so much, Mac. And as Mac mentioned earlier, no, you can also connect with him on LinkedIn. It's it's here. It's Macadamia PH, and on Facebook, Marco Valmores and Mac Valmores. Mac, thank you so much for your time and for doing this tech session for tonight. And hopefully, this will not be the last tech session that we will be doing together with StackLeague. Thank you so much, Mac.
Okay. Thank you also.
Ayun. I hope you learned and enjoyed our tech session for tonight. And that concludes the Stack League tech session, beginning with Jetpack Compose on Android development. And at this moment, we move on to another exciting opportunity for everyone. Whether you're a career shifter or a graduating student who is interested in pursuing a career in tech and would love to start their journey as a programmer or developer, our full stack coding bootcamp might be something for you. Submit your application and reserve your bootcamp slot now at bit.ly/stacktrack bootcamp application. If you have any more questions about the Stack Trek Bootcamp, you may message us on Facebook. That's fb.com/StackTrek. And here are the upcoming Stack League announcements and our upcoming events. Stack League in partnership with Manulife IT Delivery Center Tech Session happening on March 30 at 6 p.m. You may reserve your slot at via bit.ly/stackleague-meetdc and learn about how to make awesome design into a superb code. One upcoming event also is StackLeague in partnership with Likha IT. This is a Ruby on Rails workshop Take note that this is an on-site event happening on April 1 at 9 a.m. located at Likha IT office in Makati City. You may reserve your slot at bit.ly/stackleague-likha IT. One upcoming event also is in partnership with Flutter PH, Introduction to Flutter, happening on April 11. Reserve your slot via bit.ly/stackleague-April 11. There are plenty of opportunities for you to learn here in Stack League. If you want to know more about our upcoming events, you may simply go to fb.com/stackleague/events for the registration details and get the latest update. And of course, to help our team improve all the sessions for you, kindly answer this question, the question form, or you may access it at bit.ly/StackLeague Sessions Feedback, or you may simply scan the QR code flashed on your screen right now. So yun. So that's all for the announcement. Thank you so much, everyone who joined our tech session for tonight. And we hope to see you in our upcoming career and tech sessions. On behalf of the Stack League team, I would like to say thank you to everybody for joining the Stack League tech session, beginning with Jetpack Compose on Android development. Once again, if you don't have a Stack League account yet, make sure to sign up and choose your league now at StackLeague.com. And of course, you may invite your friends and family who you think should be part of the league. See you guys at the next Stack League event. This has been your host, Isai. Good night, everyone.